What are we thinking here?
I think you should feed the flamingo.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Ah! Hi there. Oh wow. Look inside its mouth. That's really something.
How's it feel?
Well, he kind of tilts his head. So is he or she? I'm sorry.
I'm not sure.
Okay, he sort of tilts. He doesn't come in, straight away. He comes in on the edge. Okay, but that's all he wanted. Great. It was good for me too. That's really cool. And it was his. You could see inside his beak, and it looked like little bitty ridges, little
Yes.
tiny. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. So, looking at those ridges that you described, and knowing what they eat in the wild, which are little shrimp, you can then imagine that they help serve a purpose, just like a baleen whale has the baleen that helps to filter out krill. The flamingos, you see the flamingo now, after he ate, he's over and drinking out of the water to help bring the food down, to digest it. But you see them dipping his beak down in the water. It's almost like a little ladle. You see that? It's like the way it's shaped is like a ladle in the water. And he's perfectly adapted for just kind of skimming through the water like that with his bill to collect shrimp and other little crustaceans.
Welcome to Shellcast, the official podcast of the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel. Come along as we explore the best of Southwest Florida. My name is Jackie Parker. I'm your host, and our sound guy is Ray Saraceno.
Hello.
And we have David Rahahętih Webb, the executive director of Everglades Wonder Gardens, with us today. And actually, we're with him. We're on his turf, and we're standing next to some parrots. We've got Peanut and Kiwi. Peanut and Kiwi. And they're part of the welcoming committee. So when you walk into Everglades Wonder Gardens, they say hello.
Absolutely. So the more excited you get, the more they'll talk.
Okay.
But they say good morning. They say, you can ask, what does the rooster, the kitty say?
Good morning.
Hello.
How are you, Kiwi?
Hello.
Hi. Hello there. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Peanut. Good morning, Peanut.
Hello.
Good
They
morning.
know they know the recorder's on.
Good morning. Good morning.
What kind of pets did you have as a kid?
So I grew up just a few miles from here in Estero, and my dad would always build these really large enclosures for me outside. So I ended up having large aviary finches when I was about 10 years old. You could walk into, and they were very prolific reproducers. We also had iguanas in the yard, and then the typical cats and dogs. But we had 22 acres down Corkscrew Road with about everything you could imagine. And on any given day out there, I would be out catching alligators and, unfortunately, don't try this at home, venomous snakes and all sorts of things, and then would let them go. But I was just one of those kids.
Just an animal kid from way back.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so, and here at the Wonder Gardens, we're hearing a little waterfall over here, and we're just sort of taking just a real broad overview tour of the facilities, and it's been here since 1936.
Yes.
And it was really one of the original, roadside attractions. And Florida was known for those, and this is old 41. But now it's becoming more of a place that's more science-based and more education for people, for visitors, right?
Absolutely. So what you described there is really a tightrope that we have to walk. Our mission here is to keep that balance of being an old historic roadside attraction on the Tamiami Trail. That's how all of the tourists and residents would come down to Florida all throughout the 20th century. And Old 41 was the Tamiami Trail. And Everglades Wonder Gardens was one of those roadside attractions, which really gives it this unique, as you walk around, it has this unique, historic, fun, kitschy feel to it. But we also want to make sure that we're meeting the best standards in animal care, that our education programs are based in science, technology, engineering, and math, so we can be relevant for schools. We have a lot of new things coming online to help ensure that balance.
And as we pass by them, we can talk about some of the new things that are coming online in plans, I guess.
Perfect. So this is another example of the change here taking place, and it really goes more to the long-term story. Everglades Wonder Gardens started out as more of a reptile park, and then they had mostly native animals. They had bears, they had birds of prey, panthers, and now we mostly have birds and reptiles. This exhibit is one where we had these really beautiful golden pheasants. We did some shuffling around here. So we had the golden pheasants were moved to a new exhibit where we had a really excited sponsor for that. And now we're going to bring back some of the actual Everglades species here. We're going to build a bald eagle aviary in its place.
Wow. Everybody loves bald eagles.
Yes.
David, this is the closest I've ever been to an alligator.
Really?
Yes.
Let's get closer.
Oh, God. There's a fence in between us, but we're looking at 1, 2, 3. I see 3. How many do you see?
I see 3. Do you hear her hissing? Did you hear the hiss? Good. So this is a female American alligator. She's puffing up. See if we hear another hiss.
Oh, God.
So this is a female American alligator. Over there you see the male. He's a little larger. This is an example of us really caring about the animal's well-being. So this pond, when I was a kid and I used to come here, had 40 alligators in it.
I remember that from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of guests that ask, what happened to all of the alligators? It's a good opportunity for us to explain that everybody needs their space.
Yeah.
And having the alligators sort of on top of each other isn't really good for the gators. The water gets really dirty, if you can imagine. And they bite each other.
Yeah.
And gator bites are bad for gators too.
Yeah.
So here they have some space, and if you look at them, they're choosing to be spread out. So we have 3 alligators in front of us, and they're about 10, 15 to 20 feet apart.
Socially distanced.
Socially distanced. And you know, they can't wear a mask, so they have to be spread out. But that really just shows they're choosing. We give them the option to be spread out. They're going to spread out.
Yeah.
So alligators prefer tropical or subtropical weather. You can find them as far north as the Carolinas, and find a number of them in the Carolinas, but it really gets too cold up there, so you won't find them much further than that.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about crocodiles, your plans for crocodiles?
Absolutely. So we're really excited that we have a couple of crocodiles coming. We'll have a couple different species of crocodiles, one from South America and another from here. It'll be our Native American crocodile. And it's a really good opportunity for us to educate the public about the difference between crocodiles and alligators. And one of the first questions that we get about crocodiles is, you know, aren't they more dangerous than alligators? They're aggressive. American crocodiles are not. People are very familiar with the saltwater crocodiles of Indonesia and Australia, the Indo-Pacific crocodile. They're incredibly aggressive. And the American crocodile is their very docile cousin.
We'll be back.
At the end of the open road, some things are better experienced than explained. Know the feeling on the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel.
So Everglades Wonder Gardens, as we mentioned earlier, is one of those last remaining real old Florida roadside attractions. If anybody visiting South Florida wants to see what real Florida is like, this is real Florida. So you have the old Florida, the vibes of the pioneers that came here early on. You have the beautiful historic buildings and also the botanical gardens around. And then the animals that attract people here in these South Florida roadside attractions and small zoos. This is really a fun place for families, and it's good for people of all ages because the older people can really appreciate that old Florida kitschy vibe that we have.
Really multi-generational. And
Absolutely.
about how much time should you book to be here, to take it all in?
You should plan to be here for an hour and a half.
Uh-huh.
You can walk around all the gardens, all the trailways that we have through here, see all of our animals, but we also have talks on the weekends. That's a good time to come out. We have animal feeding encounters, so you can feed our alligators. The flamingos will eat out of your hands, the lorikeets, and we also have pheasants that will come right up to you and eat out of your hands. So there are a lot of interactive experiences for people here.
Okay. We're looking at a yellow Burmese python, yellow and white. And let's see.
Yeah, so she's an albino Burmese python, and she just shed her skin. So do you see how iridescent and shiny
Yes.
she is? That sheen is because her new layer of scales is out and very colorful, exposed. She lacks melanin pigments, so that's why she appears yellow and white. So she is an albino. And then in the back corner, you see a large normal color Burmese python. And these are those snakes that everybody knows about, those darn pythons that are in the Everglades. This is a really good teaching opportunity for people to see them up close. I mean, we're 3 feet away from a 10 or 11 foot long python.
And these were introduced to Florida. These
Absolutely.
were not native.
So they're an invasive exotic species. In front of us, we have a map that shows their habitat in the wild, Southeast Asia and South Asia. And in those habitats, they're that's where they belong. They have natural predators. Here, they don't have natural predators. So they have just inundated the Everglades, and they eat all of our small animals here. They actually will eat deer. It's not uncommon for a large python to be found and a necropsy to reveal that it recently ate a deer. They will eat alligators, so they really will eat everything in our natural environment.
Wow.
Yeah. So as we're walking around, here's another example of one of our exhibits with some pets. So this is an African gray, and his owner passed away. So he ended up here, but the really nice thing about this African gray is his family really cares about him. So the gentleman who passed away left behind a sister and a niece, and they help take care of him. So they're donating a new aviary for him and his friends, and an additional aviary for some of our other Amazon parrots. As you can see, we're looking at this enclosure, which really, this was prior to me coming on, but we created this exhibit for the birds on a dime, right? So it's not the nicest aviary, but as we are looking at improving our conditions for our animals, getting those new aviaries, updating these enclosures, these are all things that will become really apparent to our guests when they come. They'll be very happy to see that the animals' conditions are improving.
And it sounds like this was a situation where the previous owner or the previous owner's family realized, hey, this is a much better place and we can help.
Absolutely, and that's a good relationship because they inherited this bird. They didn't necessarily have the wherewithal or even the desire to keep the bird. They're a lot of work. So a facility like this, we can house the bird, we can care for it, and we get a number of calls almost daily for people trying to place animals, but we just can't take them all. So we do, refer people to other rescues. So now we're walking up on our Flamingo Lagoon. And this is another area that was recently updated and really beautified. The south end of the Wonder Gardens is just a beautiful botanical garden.
It is.
And as you look around, you see we have a lawn, which is perfect for events. We have weddings that we host here regularly. But what our guests really love are feeding the flamingos and feeding our other animals. You'll see that.
And it's a beachy setting. I mean, there's sand, and then you walk out, and there's the water out there, and a fountain.
Absolutely.
And a lot of flamingos.
And where else can you find flamingos dotted by white ibis, which are actually wild birds? They fly in and they choose to spend their days here. And then in the back you see Pierre, our albino white peacock. He blends in with the ibises.
I see him. Yeah, I
except
see him
he's
over
bigger
there.
and
He's hanging out.
he's actually standing in the water, so he's, our animals here, they are very diverse and don't really recognize the differences among them.
And there are flamingos standing on one leg.
Yes, as they do. So they like to rest standing on one leg, and you'll see we have 5 of them here. Our flamingos are probably in their 30s. We think that they're in their 30s, and most of them were probably born here at the Wonder Gardens. And what we want to do is pursue AZA, or Association of Zoos and Aquariums, accreditation. So accreditation opens us up to all sorts of things. Funding, it also holds us to the highest standards in animal care, but it also allows us to participate in species survival programs, including flamingos. So we've already been in conversation with a number of other AZA accredited zoos about having them send some flamingos here for us to breed them, to help to improve their genetic stock, so to speak.
And to get that AZA accreditation for Everglades Wonder Gardens, to have that accreditation the same as a zoo, that's a pretty big deal.
It would be a big deal. There are not many AZA accredited facilities here in Southwest Florida. That would be a huge draw for Bonita Springs. We're already an asset to this community in terms of the number of guests that we bring out here. We have 25, thank you.
Thanks.
So AZA would help to really align us with the best standards in zoological parks. It would help us to elevate our facilities to be a bigger draw. Reciprocal opportunities for visiting other zoos and aquariums around the country and even around the world, being part of AZA, so we can attract more guests. We currently welcome 75,000 people every year here at the Wonder Gardens, which for a small town like Bonita Springs really makes us a pillar for the community. Oh, here they come.
So what do we do? All right.
So we're at the Flamingo Beach, and you had commented on how nice the white sand was. This is really a little beach habitat. And one of our flamingos is approaching. They'll actually come right up and eat out of your hand.
Okay.
So this is an experience that our guests really love, having the flamingos come up. So if you hold some in your hand, they'll come up and eat.
Can you take
out.
a picture?
And you can see the ibises. These are wild ibises. And so I'm feeding a peacock and an ibis at the same time out of my hands.
Okay, I'm gonna give this a go. Oh my gosh! Hi! Hi, you ibises. Oh, they're pecking my hand. But that's cool. I've never done this.
Oh,
Okay, we're gonna do this
again.
again. Come on, guys. Oh, hello. Hello there. Oh my gosh. So that's what their beak feels like. It's very light, and it's just like a little peck on my hands.
Very soft. Yeah, and
Very soft.
Their beaks look like little chopsticks, right?
Yeah, they
ibises
do.
have a
They
really
do.
long beak.
Yeah, there's nothing pointy about them, really. There you go. Hi.
So
How
the
fun is
ibises
that?
that you see crowding around, these are our native white ibises. And they really just stay around the Wonder Gardens. They fly at night away. Sometimes they'll roost somewhere else.
Oh, hey.
Sometimes they'll roost on the property.
Oh, that's my sunglasses. Okay, so his beak was sharper.
Yes. You definitely feel a peacock eating out of your hand more than an ibis.
Okay, I'm gonna stick with the ibises. Is that okay?
out.
Wait, that's a
A turkey.
herky. And herkies, what is herky? Is herky a turkey?
Herky's a turkey.
Herky's a turkey. That's what I thought. He's beautiful.
And now a peacock is chasing a turkey. But yeah, so those are bourbon red turkeys. They're a domestic heritage breed of turkeys. And they also free roam the property along with the peacocks.
Well, this would be so much fun to come out and have your hand pecked by an ibis. Very gently pecked.
I mean, on the beach in front of us, we have 3 peacocks. How many ibis would you say are here?
40, 50?
50-ish ibises, and 5 really bright pink flamingos. And you have the opportunity to feed and interact with all of them. So when I used to work at Ding Darling Wildlife Refuge on Sanibel Island in the mid-90s, and we would have so many of our guests come in and say that they had spotted a flamingo out on the wildlife drive. And in fact, it was almost always a roseate spoonbill.
Sure.
In fact, I don't know of any actual flamingos documented out there. We do have endemic Florida flamingo populations, and those are found in very small numbers in Florida Bay and the Everglades and the Florida Keys. Sometimes you'll find them up as far north as North Miami. And those flamingos are now believed to be native Florida populations of flamingos.
So they weren't introduced. They were here all along.
They were here all along. That's what the latest science tells us. We have populations of flamingos in the Caribbean and South America. It's possible that some of them will migrate or fly up from those other populations. But the idea now is that there were many more flamingos here prior to the 20th century and the late 1800s, when we had the hat feather plume craze in the United States. This is why the Audubon Society was created. It was created to protect our wild birds in South Florida from hunters who were putting those feathers in beautiful hats at the time. They were very trendy. Flamingos were one of those birds, and we think that their numbers were decimated by the hat feather trade. As a guest arrives, when they come into our welcome center, at our desk we have all of the options for feeding animals. You can feed alligators, flamingos, pheasants, peacocks, lorikeets, turtles, and you can buy any of those specific diets for the animals. When you look at the cup, you can see a little sticker on there that has the animal that cup corresponds to. So that way people don't get confused and feed the wrong food to the wrong animal. And then when you're done, we recycle the cups. We reuse them for the next group that comes through. So Bonita Springs has gone through a huge transformation, and the downtown district of Bonita Springs is a really cute, quaint, historic strip where you can walk down the street, stop at any number of restaurants, little shops. We have Heaven Scents flowers, we have Heaven Shakes ice cream and shakes right down the road. And then the Wonder Gardens. So it really has that historic look and feel of an old Florida town.
There are so many experiences people can have with birds here, or with all kinds of animals. I mean, because this is normal to have turkeys walking around and just with you.
Yes. If you want a fully immersive experience, Everglades Wonder Gardens is the place to be. This, as you see right now, we're talking, and a very nosy, large turkey is intruding in our conversation. But as you walk around, there are peacocks everywhere, turkeys, ibises, flamingos, just running around loose, free-ranging on our property, and they like interacting with people.
It's a pretty good deal if you're a bird. You get some chow, you get some good socialization.
Yeah.
And they're very good with people, right, David?
Absolutely, they're very friendly. Even the wild ibises, you know, as you said, this is a great spot for a bird to hang out. They come in by choice. They're wild animals, and they're also incredibly gentle as people feed them.
David, thank you so much for giving us a tour of Everglades Wonder Gardens, and it's just terrific to see all the changes that are happening, but still celebrates that roadside attraction feel.
Thank you, Jackie. I'm glad that that's your takeaway. That's exactly what we're working towards.
Very good.
Thanks for coming out today.
Thanks. For more information about Everglades Wonder Gardens in Bonita Springs, visit their website, evergladeswondergardens.com, and use the search Everglades Wonder Gardens to discover their Facebook page or follow them on Instagram. That'll do it for this episode of Shellcast, the official podcast of the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, located in Southwest Florida along the Gulf Coast, about 2 hours south of Tampa in Lee County, Florida. Thank you to Ray Saraceno, as always, for your excellent audio tech, and thanks to our colleague Courtney Herschel for the theme music. Shellcast is produced by the Lee County Visitor and Convention Bureau in Fort Myers, Florida, and is available wherever fine podcasts are downloaded and at fortmyers-sanibel.com. If you have any questions or a suggestion for an episode of Shellcast, please email us at shellcastthepodcast@gmail.com. Do you like Instagram? So does Shellcast. Follow the podcast on Instagram at shellcastthepodcast. I'm Jackie Parker. Thanks for listening to Shellcast, and we'll catch you the next time you need a beach break for your ears.
Consider this your soundtrack to a drive, and your car the escape vehicle to the kind of place that feels worlds away, but is closer than you think. Because at the end of the open road, some things are better experienced than explained. Know the feeling on the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel.